Good evening and welcome to Sports Weekly, driven by Terry Henricks Ford and live here at JJ Wynn's in Holiday City. Also brought to you by the Bryan Parks and Rec Department, Fackler Monument Company, and the main stops of Northwest Ohio. It's a bit of a Fairview takeover tonight. All we've got to do is get these two rock stars on the show, Bodi Kauffman and Russ Zeedyk, and all of Sherwood's here and beyond. See? You're pushing Eden for supremacy here in the audience. So there are two of our guests, and sandwiched in between there, Bryan girls basketball coach Todd Grosjean as well on a great night here tonight. We do want to let our Cleveland fans know we just got confirmed for a final time from the Guardians radio network. Jim Rosenhaus will be with us here and live and talk about Cleveland season and upcoming season the first Wednesday of January. So we wanted to pass that along real quick, January the 4th. You're now no interest, right, Bodi? If I had somebody from the Cubs network, I would get a little bit more on that. Bodi Kauffman, our first guest tonight. Bodi, thanks for being here.
Yep, thanks for having me.
So, sixth season. Time flies when you're having fun. Is that right?
Absolutely. It's hard to believe that I've been there that long. It just seems like yesterday we just started, and trying to build the program, get it back to where it needs to be, and when you look back and all the kids that have already graduated that we've had go through that program, it's pretty amazing. 7 years as an assistant before you got the Fairview job. Does that feel about right? But some of them, depending on who I was working with, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say most who you were working with. So tell me a little bit about 8-16 last year. Talk a little bit about Fairview's offseason, if you would, and the work that the kids put in for you in the summertime.
Yeah, coming out of last year, we had a lot of guys to replace last year. We lost all 5 starters, a bunch of kids that have been playing for 4 years. And, it took us a long time early on in the season, and probably partially my fault to make it take that long. But it took us a long time to figure out what it meant to compete at that level, to be able to win varsity basketball games. And going into this summer, I think we learned a lot as the season went on. And in the summer, you could really see that there was a huge difference with the kids that were playing that summer as opposed to the year before. They understood how hard it was to win. They understood how hard it was, to be consistent and do things the right way a majority of the time to give us a chance to win. And we had a really good summer. I mean, we played really well at the Findlay team camp. The Tuesday night summer league, we did some really good things, and we had really high hopes going into the season, and we still do. We've had some setbacks along the way, but we're working on it, and we're still getting there. We've got some younger guys that need to step up, but this summer I thought we made big strides, and I think we're going to see that as the year goes on.
All right, so we roll into late October and early November. The season gets underway. Talk a little bit about preseason and scrimmages and some of the teams and styles that you guys saw.
Yeah, we scrimmaged Holgate and Eden to start with, and both teams did things a little bit differently. Eden was trying to slow it down a little bit. Holgate was getting up and down, and then we had a really good scrimmage with PH and Pandora, and those two are really good teams. PH is very, very physical and very, very athletic, and I think it was good for us to see the different styles and see some different things. And obviously, we're just trying to fix the things that we're not very good at right now, but you got to play those teams to find out those things that you're not good at, and that's where we're at right now. We're just trying to get better every day.
All right, personnel. Talk about who's back. Tell us a little bit about this year's basketball team.
We have 6 seniors returning. Eli Scheninger, Abram Scheninger, Brody Retcher, DeAndre Hastings, Adam Lashaway, and Jeffrey Smith. Unfortunately, Jeffrey's not going to be with us, be able to play this year because he injured his knee during football, and that's a really tough situation. You got a kid that works really, really hard at it. He tried even after he got hurt to get back so that he could contribute this year, and unfortunately had a setback where he had to go ahead and have the surgery, and that's a killer. Forget about the team; it's just a killer for him. You feel really bad for the kid because he works really hard at it, and I know he was going to have a great year. He was one of the kids that really got better as the year went on last year, and that's been tough for us to deal with. I know you asked about the summer. you go through the summer and he's there and you're expecting him to be there and you kind of get a plan of what's going to happen, and then something like that happens, and it's not, we're never going to be able to replace him. It's just a matter of now guys are in different spots, they have different roles, and trying to get used to that. And again, we need some younger guys to step up that don't have a whole lot of experience, and that's kind of where we're at right now. We're trying to figure out who fits where and what gives us the best chance to be successful.
Does that injury change your style or what you want to do, or is it just simply what you just said? Different kids, different roles, different rotations now, and trying to figure that part of it out?
I don't think style-wise it's going to be a big deal. It's just a matter of, you're taking a kid that could score, could rebound, and he was our best defensive player, man-to-man, one-on-one, and you got to find other guys to do that, and then what happens is you start depending on one kid to try to do all those things, and then that's asking a lot of one kid also. And we've got to have other guys step up and do some of the things that he does for us, and I think we have. And I'm real proud of our seniors. They do a great job leading every day in practice. They're constantly pushing guys. They're being positive. They're supporting people, and I think we're headed in the right direction. And we've gotten a lot better just since practice started. And hopefully, as the year goes on, we'll get more comfortable with the roles that they have. And I think by the end of the year, we're going to be a pretty solid basketball team.
Listen, I know it's a couple of scrimmages and one game so far, but you see them every day in practice. When your kids are playing well, what are they doing well? What do you like about this group?
I think one of the things is when they're playing together, they're sharing the basketball offensively. We've got a lot of guys that can contribute offensively, but it's a situation where they've got to get the ball in the right spots. And I think we're trying to work through that and figure out, okay, this is the time we need to get this guy the ball, and this is the time we need to get that guy the ball. Defensively, we're still working on being consistent with where we're at defensively, and some of the things we do defensively, it takes a little bit of time before, we talk about making good habits, and right now we don't have the greatest habits at times, but we're working on it. And the first thing you see is when kids start to correct themselves, when they know they messed up. When you're first starting, they don't even know they messed up, and you have to tell them. And we're getting to the point now where guys are like, they'll make a mistake, and you can see them inside their head going, I shouldn't have done that. It's all just a process, and we've got to continue to get better every single day.
So in doing some research on all you guys tonight and your teams, one thing I was reading a couple of preseason publications, and one of your quotes was that you talked about, and this isn't verbatim, but kind of paraphrasing, you thought your group needed to do a better job with shot selection. And I guess talk a little bit from last year to this year, talk about what you mean, because there's a lot of things you can mean by shot selection.
And part of that is, when you're, like I said before, we really didn't have anybody coming back last year that had played before, and the game's moving really fast. And as the season went on, I thought we got better, and I think this year we have a better understanding of the kind of shots that we're looking for offensively. One of the things we were a little disappointed against Hicksville is we thought, we had some good matchups in the post down on the low block, and we didn't do a real good job identifying those mismatches and getting them the basketball. And that's something we talked about this week, and it's something that we've got to continue to get better at. But again, like I said, it's trying to figure out, okay, this is what this guy can do and this guy can do, and then as a team understand that's where we need to get them the basketball and be looking for our teammates in those spots. And we're getting better every day. I mean, we had some really good practices this week, and I think as the year goes on, we'll continue to be more comfortable with each other.
And obviously, you're not going to be the same team come February that you were on opening night against Hicksville. Maybe mention and talk a little bit about that opening night game.
I thought we got the biggest thing taken from that game that I thought was a definite positive was the fact that we didn't get off to the greatest start. I mean, we're on the road. We got a lot of guys that had never played before, and we get down 7-0 to start with. And I'm not so sure last year. I'm not sure that team could have handled that, and we continued to battle. We fought back. We had it down to 3 a couple times. I know we had it down to 3 at halftime again, and it just seemed like every time we started to catch up, we'd make some of those mistakes that are just experience and guys, trying to make plays that maybe they weren't there and those kinds of things. And, I screwed up at the end of the third quarter, and I'll take the blame for that one. But, we continued to battle. I think we had it down to 3 again in the fourth quarter, and we just didn't make enough plays at the end. And, give them credit. They're very good at what they do. Coach Tier does a great job over there, and he's got those guys that buy into their system, and they do a great job with it, and they're very consistent with it. But I thought there were a lot of positives coming out of that game. But again, we've got to continue to be consistent in what we do, and we need to continue to make good habits and practice every day.
You've mentioned inexperienced a couple of different times here in our visit. Do your practices change when you have teams that are maybe more veteran laden to some that are more inexperienced? Not necessarily the drills and everything, but do you feel like you're more one-on-one, more teaching moments in those practices? Tell me a little bit about, from a coaching perspective, how that is.
I think when you have more experience, it was weird because when I took over, we basically replaced everybody. I mean, we had nobody coming back. We had 8 seniors the year before. And so the first year, it was kind of like what I was used to as a JV coach, where you're just, you're trying to get your system in, your culture in, trying to get them to understand what we're going to do. And then the next 3 years, we had the same guys back every year, and it kind of fell into you're not really teaching every drill. They know what the drill's for. They know the purpose of the drill, what you're trying to learn. And then when those guys were gone, that was another adjustment for me. And I didn't do a very good job with it last year, I'll admit it. And this year I've tried to do a better job. We've gone back to a lot more basic drills and making sure they understand why we're doing the drill and what we're trying to get out of it. Because, again, those are things you take for granted when you've got a kid for 2 or 3 years in a row. They know what they're working on. They know how it applies to the game. They know how it applies to what you're trying to do in game plan-wise. And you got to take a step back as a coach when you lose those guys and go, okay, they don't understand what this drill's for. And so we've tried really hard. I've tried really hard this year to make that an emphasis, that when we do drills and then we start scrimmaging, we start doing that, it's okay, this is why we did that drill, and right now we're not doing it, and we need to go back and do those. We just spent 15 minutes on that drill, and we need to make sure we're doing those things. So I think when you're younger, I think you got to simplify it a little bit, and we've tried to do that this year.
All right, GMC this year, Bodi, what does it look like on paper?
It's tough as always. I mean, Ayersville's got a lot of kids back. Wayne Trace is really good. Antwerp's lost some kids, but they're still really good. I mean, there's just a lot of good teams, and there's a lot of good coaches. It's going to be a battle every night. I mean, we know that going in. We know what our conference is. It's a little more physical than some of the conferences, but that's kind of good for us too. So, we're just trying to compete, trying to find where we fit in there, and trying to win as many games as we possibly can, and then see what happens at the end. But top-wise, Ayersville, Antwerp, and Wayne Trace are really good.
Yeah, and then of course your non-conference. You like where you're at, playing the teams that you're playing, win or lose, come late February and March when you have an Archibald Defiance. There's just a couple off the top of my head, Wasion, that are on your schedule.
And we talked to our guys about that. You can go out and schedule the teams that you got a chance to win if you do things semi-correctly, or you can go out and challenge yourself and find some of those games where if you don't do things correctly, it's going to stick out. And I think, to me, as a coach, sure, everybody wants to win a lot of games, but if you're winning a lot of games and they're not making you better, sometimes you wonder if it's really worth it. And so we try to get out there. We've got a tough schedule. We've got some teams on there that are really, really good, and they're good every year, and we know we're going to be challenged, and we know that if we don't do things correctly, it could get ugly in a hurry. And we kind of challenge our kids with that. We don't back away from, we don't shy away from. We just say, look, if we don't do things the right way, they could embarrass us. And those are things that, and I think when you do those things, I think then when you get into tournament and you're playing these other teams, it's like, okay, we've seen this before. It's not a matter of, okay, they're way better than everybody else we've played on our schedule. That's just, to me, that's not the way to build a program and to get guys to buy into what it is that you're trying to do. But at the same time, sometimes that leads to some losing streaks, and then you got to take care of them mentally. So I see both sides of it. I mean, you want your schedule to be tough, but at the same time, you don't want it to be murderer's row either. And I think we've got a good mix right now.
I've had a lot of coaches sit up here. This is kind of more of a personal question because I'm always fascinated by the answer. A lot of moms and dads that have been varsity coaches that have had sons or daughters. What's that dynamic like for you right now?
Well, you'd probably better ask him. He'd probably have a better answer than I do. But, I I think I said this last. I never got into coaching to coach my kid. That was never the goal. I honestly never really wanted to do it. I enjoy the fact that I get to spend a lot of time with him because I know, a couple years from now he's going to go and he's not going to be around. But I'm proud of him. I know it can't be easy all the time, especially not only when I'm getting on him, but then I'm getting on his buddies and they're walking down the locker room going, man, your dad's a jerk. And
yeah,
he's just like, yeah, I know, I've been there. Yeah. But yeah, I like spending time with him, and I hope he understands, and I think he does. He's a pretty smart kid. I think he's got it figured out what exactly the difference is between dad and coach, and I think he's done a really good job with it. And I think our older guys have done a good job, understanding the situation that he's in and trying to put themselves in their shoes and going, man, I'm glad that's not me. We've got some other coaches' kids, which I'm sure you're going to ask the same question, a couple of them here. And it's a tough spot. It really is because, you get labeled the narc or the guy that told on everybody, or you're killing your dad in the locker room because everybody else. I mean, it's just a tough spot for him, and he handles it really well, and he works really hard, and I'm really proud of him.
Jefferson on Friday at home, and then at Wassee on Saturday, right?
Correct.
A little preview on both?
Delphus Jefferson, always an athletic team. They're very well coached. They'll mix it up on you defensively, offensively, a lot of motion, a lot of guys screening and cutting, and they've got some guys back. I know they lost a few from last year. I think it's going to be a really competitive game, and hopefully if we play well, we'll have some good things happen. Wassee, obviously, Coach Burt's got that program rolling. They're good every year in and year out, and he does a great job of fitting what they do to the personnel that he has because he doesn't always have the same kind of kids. One year they'll bring in 3 post players and pound at the post. The next year they'll have guards out there and they're flying all over the place. And he does a really good job of matching his personnel to what they're trying to do. And that obviously will be a huge test for us, especially because I've been told from other coaches that they're very, very physical. So it'll be a great test for us. We got to get better. That's our goal every day is we just want to continue to get better and better and better and be playing our best basketball at the end.
Bodi, appreciate the time tonight. Thanks for coming on. Best of luck this season over at Fairview.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for doing this show and all the stuff you do for high school sports. Thank you.
Boys basketball coach at Fairview, Bodi Kauffman. We shift gears to girls hoops when we come back in segment 2 of Sports Weekly here on B-Rock.
It's Thirsty Thursday at all the main stops in Northwest Ohio. What does that mean? It means that every Thursday, all day long, you will get any size fountain drink or any size coffee for only 79 cents. All day long, every Thursday, any size fountain drink, any size coffee or cappuccino. Stop in to your main stop and see everything they have to offer every day. Main stops, always there when you need us.
The Bryan Parks and Recreation Department would like to wish the Bryan Golden Bears good luck in tonight's game. The Bryan Parks and Rec offers a wide variety of classes for you during the entire year and an array of sporting events all year long. Check out what the Bryan Parks and Recreations Department has going on at bryanparksandrec.com or like them on Facebook. The Bryan Parks and Rec hopes to see you in one of the many parks that Bryan has to offer and enjoy the facilities. Questions about the classes or rental of one of their facilities, call 633-6030.
Hi, I'm Paul Rorick Jr. at the Fackler Monument Company in Montpelier, Ohio. We hope that you and your family will have the best that the holiday season affords. The best of health, the best of family, and the best of happiness. The Fackler Monument Company sincerely wishes that you and your loved ones are safe this season and that the coming year will bring you success and happiness. Have a very Merry Christmas and the happiest of New Years from Fackler Monument Company in Montpelier, Ohio, serving families since 1924.
I want to talk to you for the next 30 seconds about the place to go for your next vehicle. Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archbold. Whether it's a new vehicle for purchase, a lease vehicle, or perhaps a pre-owned vehicle, Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archbold is the place to turn. They also have this fantastic service department as well. Service after the sale. Terry Hendricks Ford, serving all of your vehicle needs in Northwest Ohio. Go to terryhendricksford.com.
Here's your updated B-Rock 100.9 forecast. Lows level off around 23 tonight under partly cloudy skies. Westerly winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Highs level off around 35 tomorrow. Mainly clear skies. Lows around 27 tomorrow night. Cloudy skies expected. Temperatures a bit above average Friday and Saturday with highs in the upper 40s. Chance for scattered rain showers Saturday. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 29 degrees.
Welcome back to Sports Weekly. Next week, we have one guest confirmed. Fayette boys basketball coach Todd Mitchell will join us. Have a few other texts out waiting to hear back. 2 weeks from tonight, it's Pettisville night. Jason Waldvogel and Brian Leppelmeyer will be here, girls boys coach, and Connor Varner, who's Jason's niece, of course. She's the head coach of the Stryker Lady Panthers, a team that Brian girls coach Todd Grosjean will see in the holiday tournament coming up, or at least they'll be there. Is that a matchup for you? Is it Stryker?
Yeah, that's who we match up with.
Okay, so there
year.
you go. You'll definitely see him. Todd Grosjean joins us. Coach, thanks for being here tonight.
Absolutely.
So, let's start with last year. I mean, another positive step for Brian girls basketball. It went 18-5, won a third straight NWAL championship, and first three-peat since 78, 79, and 80. You were barely born, right, when that happened last, or at least you looked it.
Yeah.
But still, a terrific year.
Like
Terrific year for Brian girls basketball last year.
Well, you win with people. We've been blessed with a lot of really talented young ladies the last couple years, and they bought into the system, and we've just kind of reloaded from year to year, and that's a credit to our youth program, our junior high coaches, and we've had some success at the JV level, which is carried over.
This is a really good, we're going to talk Fairview girls here in just a minute, and that's a good group here the last few years that's run through with athletes in multiple sports. You're seeing that at Bryan right now with this core group that's kind of coming through, and you're blessed to have some of them play hoops.
Yeah, we've got obviously a small senior class led by Reese Grodhouse, who is hopefully going to stay healthy for the first time in quite a while. But she's obviously leading us. But our junior class is really solid. We have 6 juniors that have stuck together through the program. And like you said, Fairview's got a very good junior class, as does Liberty Center. So I think all three programs have kind of built their programs around those kids and plugged in pieces that they've needed to. And all three programs are seeing the dividends, I guess.
What was your off season like? On the heels of another league title, an 18-win season, I know you didn't get as far as you wanted to go in the tournament. Did that provide some of that hunger for the girls in the off season?
Absolutely. We had outstanding leadership last year. We had 6 seniors that stuck together, led by Addie Arnold and Delilah Taylor, provide us with great senior leadership. Obviously, when you lose kids of that quality that are 3-sport athletes, you got to find some leadership. And obviously, Reese was waiting in the wings. She's been a leader all along, but as an underclassman. But she's finally, healthy. She did a great job this summer. We challenged our kids, probably scaled back as much as probably we've ever done in the summertime. We just basically focused all our attention in June on some shootouts. We took our kids to Anthony Wayne, who went to the state tournament last year, had an opportunity to play Anthony Wayne and Toledo Central Catholic and Perrysburg. Start was there, and we tried to, get it across to our kids. If we want to make a run, those are the type of programs you're going to run into and the type of athletes you're going to see, and our kids responded really well.
So you get into this season. I want to ask you about scrimmages and then kind of jump right into the season if you want to, because that goes to your point of why you were in for a second straight year, the QP tournament over Thanksgiving, or just before Thanksgiving, the weekend before Thanksgiving down in Lima. Talk a little bit about some of the teams you saw in the preseason, and then so far the first 4 off to a 3-1 start.
Well, and Coach Zeedyk will probably attest to this too. We had some success in soccer, and a lot of our kids play soccer. They had success in volleyball, so we kind of got a late start. And with the way the schedules backed up to one another, I think our kids finished playing soccer on a Wednesday night. We gave them 2 days off, and they're at practice on Monday. So not a lot of time off for our kids, but the kids responded. They were anxious to get started. We challenged them with our preseason scrimmage schedule. We scrimmaged Mike Baum at Montpelier, tried to just play ourselves into shape. Mike's kids challenged us that night. Then we went to Eastwood and saw Toledo Central Catholic, who's probably by far one of the favorites to come out of our district. Got an opportunity to play against them. Perrysburg came to Bryan, and Ayersville joined us in a three-way, which was a great scrimmage for our kids. Perrysburg always brings athletes and kids that are real aggressive and physical. And then we saw the NBC favorite that was preseason favorite in Woodmore. So our preseason scrimmage schedule, hopefully prepared our kids for what we saw down in Lima.
Yeah. So what was that experience like, playing there for a second straight year?
Well, it's the second year we've gone down there and had the opportunity to play in that tournament. It's nice because it also gives us an opportunity to spend the night in a hotel. Our kids get a chance to spend some time together, have some fun. I think Greg Mauck's got it set up at Lima Bath. We've played Marion Local the last 2 years, and which our kids relished. Obviously, if you know anything about Marion Local, their football team is always good, and I think some of those girls might be in uniform on Friday and Saturday nights too, with the size they bring out on the court. But we were fortunate enough this year to find a way to win that game down there against a really talented and physical Marion Local team. Matched up with Lima Bath in the finals, and Lima Bath's really good. And unfortunately, we didn't get off to the best of starts. I think we were down 27-5 early in the first half, and we were able to get it to 8 or 9 at halftime, and played even from that point on. And but that was a great experience for our kids. And then our home opener last Tuesday was against Tenora. I think you guys did that game. And very athletic, quick Tenora team. Obviously, they had made a coaching change, but I know their coach, Coach Thiel, is optimistic and hopes that they have another run at a GMC title along with Fairview. And then last night we made the trek down to Haviland and played Wayne Trace and played pretty well. Yeah, it was good to see our kids respond. And we had some illness in the Tenora game that we've kind of shared and spread around, but our kids are, I think, on the rebound, and we turn around again tomorrow night on our GMC tour and travel back down to Paulding.
Todd, I want to ask you have a unique situation, and this is a situation that we've seen, I think, more outside of our area in the fact that you have a transfer in Anna Gray. Okay, I want to have you talk about this on a couple of different perspectives. One, if the girls don't, I watched how they interacted that night, and then we did the boys game on Friday, and it was the same situation. They seemed to have all kind of embraced her and brought her into the fold, because that can be a tough situation to move in. And I know she's good, she's talented, but it can still be a bad chemistry situation sometimes. It looks like it's total opposite. So talk about that, and then also knowing as a coach, you're not going to have her beyond this calendar year. Yeah,
it's kind of a double-edged sword, I guess. She's very talented. She was second team all GMC last year, and she played with a couple of our kids on a spring team, and her dad, Dusty Gray, is obviously an official, and he approached us about the possibility and if we were receptive to it, and I said, well, that's I can't say anything, that's up to her. That's a decision that she's going to have to make. And we were under the impression, we went all summer without her, and we were under the impression it wasn't going to happen, and then at the last minute in June or July, end of July, we found out that it was going to happen, and she made the move. And we called our kids in and talked to them about it, because obviously these kids have played together since, 5th and 6th grade. And I guess it boils down to the fact that we've got some pretty nice kids and some kids that are, they know what she can bring to the table. And obviously we've been fairly competitive in the past, and we've preached to our kids in our program all along that life's about competition. You're going to have people that are going to come into a job, and you may have a job in a position that someday somebody's going to threaten you. How are you going to respond to it? Okay, you're going to be defensive, or are you going to bring her on board, and hopefully it makes you better, it makes the whole group better, and I think that's the way our kids have approached it. I think you're exactly right. I think our kids have responded well. It was nice to see her play well against her former teammates.
That had to have been tough. Yeah.
Yeah, she was pretty worked up about it and anxious about it, but I thought she responded pretty well.
How do you go about preparing now, knowing that she's not going to be in your rotation come January 1?
Well, we've got some younger kids that we've got numbers issues like everybody, I think, across the board does in terms of kids in the program, but we've got a couple freshmen that we're going to try and get ready and acclimate to the varsity speed of the varsity game, and right now they're playing JV, and we're going to, with 6 quarters a night, we're going to try and plug them in here and there and get them ready come January 1 when Anna sits down, and we're going to have to go another route. But.
Yeah. League, NWAL, we mentioned that you're trying it'd be the first time in school history that you'd win a 4th in a row if you're able to do it this year. Who are some of the hurdles?
That's a tall task because our league is from top to bottom pretty good. We've got great coaches, as every league does, but when you've got Brian Ziegler at Archbold, they've reloaded. They've got great numbers. Liberty Center, as I mentioned, they've got an outstanding junior class. They've got a lot of kids playing basketball in Liberty Center. We had an opportunity to see them at Bowling Green this summer, and they get after you. Patrick Henry's really young, and got some young kids that are stepping in. I know they had like 12 kids score last night in the game. So they're going to be a handful. Wasion lost a lot to graduation, but they've got the Meyer girl back in the post, which will pose some problems. And right on down the line. Evergreen will be, they've got a couple kids back. They lost their point guard, but the Chamberlain girl's back, really good athlete. Brittany Simbolin does a nice job. She gets her kids to play hard. So you can't look past anybody in our league.
You mentioned numbers. What's it like through the program at Bryan, even down through your junior high numbers?
Well, we have 4 seniors. Reese Grotehouse, as I mentioned earlier.
That's right. These are weird numbers at the high school level that you don't hear about when you get through your classes here.
Yeah, we have 4 seniors: Reese, Allie Allspaw, Blaze Langendorfer. Those 3 all lettered last year. Ella Miller unfortunately tore ACL in soccer. Great kid. We were hoping she would maybe step in and be a defensive stopper, but she's already had surgery and probably going to miss the entire year. Our juniors are Ella Voigt, Ella Rao, Kaylee Thiel, 6'1" post player. Mara Smith, who played JV last year, probably would have played varsity on most teams in the area, but when you have Reese Grotehouse, Addie Arnold, and Delilah Taylor, you're pretty strong at the guard position, so she played where we obviously needed her. We got Anna Gray, who's a wing, and then Avery Brown just got released tonight. She tore a ligament in her thumb. How you do that in soccer, I don't know, but she got released tonight.
Was she
to play.
goalie?
No, she is not a goalie.
Okay, that was my first thought.
So, and then we've got 0 sophomores. Our sophomores have all decided to focus on other sports, and which is fine because we've got a couple freshmen in Josie Arnold and Ava Zimmerman. I think eventually in January we're going to have to rely upon them to give us some minutes here and there. So we have 90 first through 6th graders coming in on Saturday. So all of you out there, say a prayer for our coaching staff Saturday morning about 10 o'clock.
You're saying that 1st through 6th graders might be a little difficult?
Yeah, in one gym, yeah.
Yeah, in one gym. There you go. So you got home games coming up. You mentioned Paulding tomorrow, and actually home game. That's wow. You got road games. I had written my notes wrong. At Paulding tomorrow, and then at Edgerton on Monday, and then the holiday tournament. Fairview's here tonight, of course, and you'll see. And they're in opposite games of you, so that's a potential final. Talk about what is this year of the holiday tournament now? What year is this of this?
That's a great question. I think we started it in 2001, 2002 maybe.
Wow.
So it's going on.
You've had a few teams kind of come in and out.
Yeah, we've had teams that come as far as Akron Hoban played in it one year.
That was in the old gym. I remember that.
Dayton Meadowdale's come up. We've had obviously local teams try to get fans in the stands with Stryker and Fairview, and Paulding was in it for a number of years. But yeah, it's usually well attended. It's over the holiday break, obviously, so our kids enjoy playing in it. Obviously, Fairview's really talented, and they have been the last few years, and we've kind of run into one another in the finals, it seems like, and hopefully that's the case again this year.
Those are fun. I mean, because if not, then you're out looking for separate games. If you're not hosting that tournament, either you're looking for more games or you're not playing, and you don't want that part of the equation.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's obviously between Christmas and New Year's, so you have trouble giving your kids a break. We try to be creative and giving them days off here and there in December. When we have 3 or 4 practices in a row, it doesn't hurt to give them a day off and get their legs back. So you just got to be a little bit creative as a coach and a scheduler.
Hey, appreciate you coming on tonight. Good luck this season. Good luck starting with Paulding again. We'll see you in middle of December. I think my next game will be Napoleon to town. I know always a big game on the schedule for you guys and playing. I know they're a little bit different team. A lot of that talent is siphoned through, and they're really young now, but it's still a good program to face. So looking forward to seeing that. Thanks for being here with us tonight.
Absolutely. And before I go, I got to give a shout out to Coach Heisler out there, because I know I wouldn't be sitting up here. He took a chance on me 30-some years ago, 35 years ago, on a young kid, and gave me an opportunity. So I want to just give him a shout out.
Yeah, and that was probably your most talented team you ever had.
Well,
yeah, the numbers were put in the book. You've learned your lesson from that.
Yeah, whoever came up with different sets of
numbers. That's a good story to share.
Uniforms.
People here, if they don't know it. We played Bryan. I was on Todd's first freshman team, the very first team he had. We played Bryan, and they were good, and we were pretty decent. And we were at home, but Coach G put in the away numbers.
We had played the day before in our away jerseys, and obviously we were wearing white. And whoever came up with the idea of odd numbers away, even numbers home, and of course we had all the wrong numbers in the book.
And it was at the time it was a technical. If we started the game with 5 tees, right, or 5 free throws,
which was incorrect. It should have been 1 technical or 2-shot technical, correct it, and then it was done with.
Okay.
Done with, and unfortunately we spotted Bryan, 7 points.
Yeah.
We were down 7-0 before the clock even started.
Yeah.
And we did win that game.
We did win that game. That's right. Thanks for being here tonight, Coach. Good luck this season. Coach Todd Grosjean, head coach of the Bryan Lady Bears. Fairview Ladies coach Russell Zeedyk coming up next here in our final segment on this Wednesday night.
It's Thirsty Thursday at all the main stops in Northwest Ohio. What does that mean? It means that every Thursday, all day long, you will get any size fountain drink or any size coffee for only 79 cents. All day long, every Thursday, any size fountain drink, any size coffee or cappuccino. Stop in to your main stop and see everything they have to offer every day. Main stops, always there when you need us.
The Bryan Parks and Recreation Department would like to wish the Bryan Golden Bears good luck in tonight's game. The Bryan Parks and Rec offers a wide variety of classes for you during the entire year and an array of sporting events all year long. Check out what the Bryan Parks and Recreations Department has going on at bryanparksandrec.com or like them on Facebook. The Bryan Parks and Rec hopes to see you in one of the many parks that Bryan has to offer and enjoy the facilities. Questions about the classes or rental of one of their facilities, call 633-6030.
Hi, I'm Paul Rohrig Jr. at the Fackler Monument Company in Montpelier, Ohio. We hope that you and your family will have the best that the holiday season affords. The best of health, the best of family, and the best of happiness. The Fackler Monument Company sincerely wishes that you and your loved ones are safe this season and that the coming year will bring you success and happiness. Have a very Merry Christmas and the happiest of New Years from Fackler Monument Company in Montpelier, Ohio, serving families since 1924.
I want to talk to you for the next 30 seconds about the place to go for your next vehicle. Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archbold. Whether it's a new vehicle for purchase, a lease vehicle, or perhaps a pre-owned vehicle, Terry Hendricks Ford on Stryker Street in Archbold is the place to turn. They also have this fantastic service department as well. Service after the sale. Terry Hendricks Ford, serving all of your vehicle needs in Northwest Ohio. Go to terryhendricksford.com. Welcome back. Our final segment of Sports Weekly tonight, driven by Terry Hendricks Ford, and time to talk Fairview girls basketball with head coach Russell Zeedyk. Russell, thanks for being with us tonight.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, God, it's flown by already with you. A handful of seasons in, 16-7 last year, 5-2. 4 straight 15-plus win seasons at Fairview right now. You guys have some, not just girls basketball, but girls sports in general. A lot of great things happening at Fairview.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some good classes go through, and like you said, it's not just basketball. It's softball and volleyball, and, you know, we get some of those athletes. We don't get them all, but we do share most of them.
Obviously, there's something there. I mean, every coach will buy into that if one sport's successful, and then you start to see it snowball a little bit. But what do you take away from that? Where do you can tell that this is a group of girls that are successful? Is it their practice habits? Is it how they compete? All of the above? Where do you see it the most?
I don't know. I think it started young with, you know, a lot of parents volunteering and helping and working with them. And we have some good youth programs in all our sports, and it takes parents to do that. And I think we had a lot of dedicated parents with these groups when they were younger.
You got off to a slow start last year. Well, mid-season you were around 7-6, and then got hot and played well most of the rest of the year. What was the end of that season like? And then talk a little bit about what that did for you guys in the off season.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to finish strong. I mean, sometimes it's out of your control, I think, a little bit with the scheduling and
then tournament draws, yeah.
Yeah, and tournament draws, and you know, we get in a tough district, so ended earlier than we wanted, of course, but yeah, and ending strong, and then going into summer. But softball was successful, so I don't know. I think when they go to the next sport, they're always ready for the next sport, and then when they have success in that, you got to get them back in the basketball mode come June. So it carried over into our summer. I mean, we backed it down a little bit, kind of just played mostly in June, and we're done in July, and give the girls a little bit of time off before they jump into volleyball.
Yeah, and that volleyball season was so successful. You got to the regionals for the first time ever, so that meant you started basketball, but you didn't get a lot of kids in right away. So what did that do for you as far as a little later start? How did you guys have to adapt to that?
Yeah, it was kind of tough. I mean, we practiced for 2 weeks with 6 girls, and boy, you run out of things to work on when you got 6 girls. I mean, they do a drill for 10 minutes, and it's like, if you had 15 girls doing the same drill, they just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. So got to a late start with that. We actually had a couple scrimmages canceled. We did go to one scrimmage down at Holgate with Holgate and Evergreen, but we took 6 girls. We had 2 varsity players and 4 JV players, but we were tired of practicing, so we went ahead and went to the scrimmage, and it was good for us. I thought when we went down that we'd probably play some JV quarters and play some varsity quarters, but we went down there and we were competing pretty good in the varsity gym, so we just stayed over there, and it was good for us, I guess, to get away from practicing. But then, with the rest of the girls came back, I don't know, they got beat out on a Wednesday and came back Monday or Tuesday, and I know we practiced about 5 days before we had St. Mary's, so I mean, we didn't have a lot of practice, but we had a lot of experience coming back. So
that helps, doesn't it?
I mean, they know what they got to do when they get in the gym and pick up pretty quick on stuff.
Tell us, you mentioned some of the kids that you have back this year that are playing for you, if you would, Russell.
So we got seniors back. Well, first of all, we lost just one senior last year with Caitlin Zeedyk. Was kind of a defensive player for us. Did a lot of good things, but so we had most of our girls back. With seniors this year, Carrie Zeedyk and Allison Rhodes, and then juniors are Kelly Kreitz, Haley Hammer, Bethany Singer, Lexi Taylor, and Sydney Merritt. And so that's pretty much our varsity group. So a lot of experience coming back. They all, 5 or 6 letter winners, and 4 of them were starters. So,
what are program numbers like for you at Fairview?
Pretty good all the way down. We got 15 girls on the varsity and JV, which is about right for what I like to have. And I think our 8th grade class is pretty good size, 9 or 10. 7th grade's a little bit short. I think they got 6 or 7. And then you get down in the 5th and 6th grade, they just, they got enough to play.
Yeah. So this group, tell me a little bit, what's this group do well? What do you like about this group? When you guys are clicking and playing well, whether it's in practice or games, what are you doing well?
Well, I mean, with the seniors, it's, carrying out. They're what got me into this gig, I guess. So been coaching them since 3rd grade, so they know what I want, and they come in, and I mean, having Carrie out there is about like having another coach out there. So just being able to kind of lead on the court with the seniors and the experience. I mean, they kind of know what we want to do, and obviously when they're shooting well and they're passing well and getting good shots, I mean, everything looks good.
And a overall pretty athletic group as well.
Yeah, they're all athletic. Like you said, a lot of them are, let's see, Carrie and Kelly and Haley and Bethany are all volleyball players and did very well in volleyball, and about all of them are softball players. Most of them are 3-sport athletes. So, I mean, they're athletic and get after it, and they're competitors. I mean, they want to win probably as much as me or more.
That's saying a lot, too. So you split your first two. You mentioned that St. Mary's game you won and then lost last night to an Archbold team. Maybe talk about both those games, if you would.
Well, St. Mary's was home, and I think we came out right away and played really well and shot really well. So, I mean, you learn that, I think, or I've learned it. Since I've been coaching, is when you shoot well, everything looks good, and we did that night. I mean, I think St. Mary's had 5 seniors last year. We went down there last year and got beat by about 20. We were missing Allison last year, which I think this year, I don't think they probably scouted us much, and we only had 1 scrimmage, and even if they got a hold of that film, they didn't see a lot from it. So I think Allison was kind of surprised. She came out and had a really good game. I think had 26 points, and I don't think they were expecting us to be that strong inside. So we played really well that game. Last night over at Archbold, I mean, we didn't shoot well. I think we were 40% from the free throw line, and they're aggressive and well coached, and they took away a lot of stuff we were trying to do, put pressure on us, and of course, we didn't shoot well, but that's a credit to them, a lot of taking away what we wanted to do.
Good lead in there about what they did defensively. Where do you feel like is that a strength or a potential strength for you on how you guys play on the defensive end?
Can it be? We can be if we can match up right. I mean, I think they're more guard oriented, and we can't match up with 5 guards, the quickness of them. So, I mean, we can be okay defensively, I think, but I think a lot of it's going to come down to matchups.
Okay. Obviously, you expect to be right there in the mix in the GMC. Who are some other good teams in the conference this year?
Pretty much all of them, but I think Ayersville, obviously won it last year, and they got almost everybody back but 1. So Ayersville's going to be right at the top. Tenora's good. Wayne Trace, the Shepherd girl came back and played. That's going to make them really good again. So Antwerp's well coached. I mean, they can knock anybody off any night. So I don't think there's any easy nights for us.
Yeah, and that's that way. It's kind of always been in the GMC, boys or girls, throughout all of these years. Speaking of schedule, you play Hicksville tomorrow. That's a non-conference game, right?
Right. Yep.
And you'll see them again in conference, and then a home game on Saturday. And this is one of those real good test games. And the reason why OG is on your schedule. I mean, they're going to be good every year.
Right, yeah, we've kind of loaded up our schedule, I think, a little bit, and I know there's going to be years where I think it's loaded too much. I mean, I think for this
your
year,
AD sitting right here. You can.
Yeah, I know. I didn't want to look at him. I think he knows who I'm talking to.
Yeah. Yeah. So he said he did what you told him to.
Right, yeah.
But
he's
ask
real
you
good
that
at
in
that.
January,
he's
right?
real good at doing what I tell him.
Do you ask or say a lot to him? Like, do you dictate a lot to him? Yeah. So tell me about this OG team you're going to see Saturday.
Well, they're good. I mean, like we talked before, they're good every year. And even if you think they're going to have a down year because they lose really good 1 or 2 seniors, then you go back and they're reloaded, and they're just obviously well coached. I mean, he's got the program rolling, and they're going to be aggressive, and they always got a couple big girls, and they're physical, and it'll be a good test. I mean, we've played them a number of times in tournament, and we've went down there and scrimmaged them before we had them to our schedule, and we play with them. I think I think we compete with them, but we're gonna have a really good game to be able to beat them.
Is everything district-wise stay the same this year? Are we on that cycle where it's pretty much remained the same?
Yeah,
team-wise at
Liberty
least?
Benton dropped down to Division II, but otherwise it'll be
Yeah, and you've already talked about it's tough for you to advance through because of the good quality teams that are coming through your district.
Right, yeah, Delphus Jefferson's going to be really good, and OG will be back in there.
Okay. Hey, Russ, we look forward to seeing you guys this year. Best of luck this week against Hicksville and Ottawa Glandorf, and continued success running a great program over at Fairview.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Russell Zeedyk, head coach of the Fairview Lady Apaches. Our thanks also to Todd Grosjean and Bodi Kauffman. Next week, Todd Mitchell for sure, and others on the show. And again, for Cleveland fans, circle January 4th. That's when Jim Rosenhaus is here. Sports Weekly every week, brought to you by J.J. Wins, Terry Henricks Ford, Bryan Parks and Rec Department, Fackler Monument Company, and the main stops of Northwest Ohio. More rock on the way now on B-Rock.